Mark is joining us here on AM800. Hi, Mark.
Hi there. I'm calling because I'm not going to be crossing the picket line. I've worked at Zehrs about 18 years ago. I know what's going on at these places. I know some people that still work there or that started working there. But I think, in my opinion, and I know some other people know it, but so far I've heard some callers touch upon the issue, but people most of the time miss the point because they don't know enough about issues. In my opinion, if you look at the cost of living in the past 20 years, one caller said they're still getting paid, some of them are still getting paid the same wage they were in 1994 or whatever. That's true. But if you look at the cost of living, the inflation rate that the government creates, in the past, every year the inflation, based on the consumer price index, the government comes out with these statistics and they say, look, this is the inflation rate. Well, it's not telling the whole truth. They don't count a bunch of other things. So my point in this is saying that it's not really the wages that are the issue, that the company is paying. It's the erosion of our currency in the past 20 years. 7 to 10% inflation. That's the real inflation rate. So if you look at that every year over 20 years, that's over 140% worth of price increases on basic consumer goods, including housing and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the pinch, it's not, in my view, it's not greedy employees or greedy workers. It's the inflation rate that's causing the erosion of our standard of living.
Well, of course, Mark. I mean, and I don't mean to be flippant about it, but yeah, I mean, if you were making what you made in 1994 now, you know you're not making.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to continue asking for higher wages is not the solution. It is for the person on the front line because they think that the employer should be paying more, but the employer is only mostly going by what the local competition is paying. So if they're going to be paying more than local competition, how it's going to make it tougher for them to be in business. It doesn't matter if this guy has millions or billions of dollars. That's his money where to spend how he wants to spend it. Now, if we were to say, we want more of his money, it's not going to be a solution because in the long run, it's not.
Well, Mark, but with all due respect to what you're saying,
yeah.
and I understand economics as well, you have to make money so you can pay your hydro bill and buy your food.
Sure.
And our minimum wage is high. Absolutely. But we can only do with what we can deal with, or we can only deal with what we can. And to say, well, I'm going to be the source of rolling back inflation.
Well, what
it
I
isn't
had to do is
happen.
I actually had to move out of the city and get very higher paying jobs, and that's not a solution for a lot of people because they have a whole bunch of obligations. But a lot of those obligations are their own doing. So people have to realize that what's going on. This is not the 1950s anymore, and this is 2015 now. It's a lot different story. So,
but Mark, you can't. But you can't have everybody quitting their job and moving out of province because the same thing happens there.
Oh, I totally agree with you. What you're saying. Yeah, like I said, workers are getting shafted everywhere. But it's also getting, things like you don't have to get an education to school. You can get an education by working different jobs that have entry-level positions, or you can go to a library, whatever it is.
Once again, I'm not really sure how this helps people that are not making a whole lot of money and feel they are getting shafted by their employer.
Well, that's their prerogative if they want to continue working there. But there's going to say is that, like I said, people miss the point and they don't realize it's the cost of living mostly.
Well, of course, it's the cost of living.
But they have to understand. I don't know if I haven't heard too many people talk about it. Why the cost of living is so high? I'm just trying to give my explanation of why that is. Right. So we can do all the striking we want, but I don't think it's going to really do too much other than just.
But Mark, nobody's going to want to change the cost of living on their back. Are you?
What do you mean?
Exactly. Are you willing to take less money and encourage everybody else to take less money?
Oh, no, I'm not encouraging that at all.
Well, but then I don't understand how you think that you can, the things, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I also don't understand how you think this can be accomplished.
Well, through, elections really don't mean too much anymore because look at the participation rate in
elections
elections.
Have nothing to do with it, though.
It doesn't?
What would an election do?
Politicians run on platforms
And what platform is a politician going to run on that's going to reverse the cost of living?
Well, we can think cynically like that for sure, but like I said, there's larger issues, but, that's pretty much the only, like I said, if they want more, it's not always about money. They have other benefits like, they got rid of the declaration of availability there. They got rid of, they cut wages and things like that. And they're trying to compete, right? So they're trying to do what they have to do. But the solution for a lot of these workers, it's either to put up with it or find somewhere else to play. Honestly, find somewhere else to work. If it's out of the city, that's one of the solutions, because these guys are not going to budge. That's obvious. They've been cutting for years.
All right, thank you, Mark. It's not only here in the city. It is the whole chain. It is the whole chain right across the province. They're talking about adding more stores between London and Ottawa on Sunday. Of course, it's the cost of living that increases, but to reverse it on the backs of a couple of people, like I said to Mark, I don't understand how that happens. He's talking, I guess, about your plight, and then he's talking in big terms. Thank you, Mark. 519-792-2559, 1-800-263-2559, and star